All of them but one are new, they're all new.
And what is it, what kind of inspiration came to you for these pieces?
I thought of an idea of listening to some of my favorite music, and the concept of the music, the lyrics gave me the ideas what to paint. So a lot of this, that's the reason why you have a Walkman, as I wanted the audience to listen to the music and also look at the painting at the same time, and they will see where I was inspired. And a lot of these, especially the doors, they're all metaphors. And this one in particular, it is a metaphor of the door closing, or my opportunity has been close to see my mother the last time, because I have not seen her in 15 years, and I did not get to see her before she died. And that lake there, that's the date when she died.
Okay.
So a lot of them, they have symbolic meaning, and they all signify something to me that is very private and personal. That is the way I work. There are times when I work just to have fun, but a lot of times, especially when I'm doing exhibition, I like to paint something that has a lot of meaning and has a lot of personal connection, that really means a lot to me. Well, I think everybody probably had the experience of looking at the clouds, and especially when you are stressed out. And I always, in spite of all the problems that we have, I always think, would it be nice to just be able to sit down, if we can lay down on the clouds and look at the world and what is happening below. And the song that inspired me is It's a Wonderful World. And in spite of everything else, what's happening in the world, the turmoil, the war and everything, it's still a beautiful world. And it can also be beautiful by just imagining and dreaming. And that is where I got that idea. And the boat, it's like I was dreaming of a boat, floating in the sky. And that's where the idea came from.
I painted when I was in high school, which was a long time ago, and pretty much left it behind for the next 30 years, and suddenly was just stricken with the urge to paint again. In fact, not only that, but the urge to paint in oil, which all these are.
Yeah.
And I hated oil paint when I was in high school. And so it was just, it's not like I had a choice. It was there and I couldn't put it off any longer. Well, this is a series that I've done titled Synchronized Mythology. And if you look at the iconography of it, for example, the pieces right here, you'll notice it's reminiscent of Old Testament, old mythology, creationism, paradise, getting tossed out on your ear.
See, like the Egyptian eye?
Eye of Horus, there you go. A lot of people recognize that. And so I've read a lot of this mythology of people's creation ideas and paradise ideas. And of course this piece here also has the 4 flaming swords referred to that keeps them from ever coming back in once they got tossed out.
Okay.
And you can see that there's an apple involved, there's always a snake, there's always a tree, there's always, all these elements are in everyone's myth, whoever it may be. And of course the last painting on the right represents getting past that, getting thrown out, finding peace again with the knowledge that you gained by getting thrown out. So that's really the idea. From sort of an unconscious level of suffering to getting thrown out and suffering a lot more, but breaking through the suffering and then getting to where you understand something you didn't understand before. You're aware of something you didn't know before. Just the things that I read a lot of Carl Jung, and basically the series was spurred on by Carl Jung to a great extent. He had written a book called Answer to Job. If you've never read that, I highly suggest it. It's a very interesting book, and it's the doctor's.
Is that the idea of synchronicity?
Yes.
Okay.
Right. He coined the term, as a matter of fact. In fact, I've just noticed in the last couple of days the phrase refers to how if you see or hear something for the first time, then within the next day or so, you're going to see or hear of it again and again from other sources. And so maybe it's part of just your recognition, looking for the idea, but there's something there that causes us to get what we need to get, or something that has happened to us that makes it recur, some mysterious force. And that's what he was using the phrase to explain. But in that book, Answer to Job, it's his story to explain the book of Job. Very interesting story. And it's basically the same story of being in a sort of paradise where you have what you think you need to be happy. Suddenly it's all gone, and what are you going to do now? You know, and the frustration of being stuck in that situation where you thought you had it all together, and now you've lost it all. And then getting through that back to a peace, an acceptance or an enlightenment or heaven or whatever your particular myth happens to refer to that situation. Actually, I'm exploring others already. Our website has a series called Free People, which is sort of the same concept, you know, with people in their different facets of their personality, different levels of spiritual growth, and I'm really pursuing that more than this series even right now. Not that I won't go back to this, but right now it's the one I'm painting more of. It's really colorful, much more so than these that are all limited to the earth colors. So a lot of other directions.
And give us your website.
It is jlynstudio.com, jlynstudio.com.
Okay.
Easy to find.
We'll steer people that way.
Good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good to meet you.
It started out a while back with pretty much kind of, I'm not sure the correct term, but I guess the big oriental rugs and the big, just kind of big mats and stuff, and prayer mats. And so I originally started out doing just these large weavings, like mats just on the floor. And so my paintings were actually shown on the floor for, you know, just kind of a short stint. And then it just slowly evolved into what you're seeing now, and just kind of how the durability and kind of learn from your mistakes and kind of building up to what I have. It's more so just strictly kind of a general overseeing imagery. It's not so much about what the text actually is saying or is written, but it's just about the idea of information, intertwinement, and this kind of delicacy of everything coming together. And then you come back on top of it with these kind of very heavy imagery and ideas, which kind of juxtaposes the two. It's more so just, I almost see them as two different kind of entities of themselves, of like the delicacy of the tapestry, but then coming back with the imagery, it's just kind of whatever the idea I want to get across, I just try to find the best suiting manner possible, as with such as this one forming, where it's a zebra that's been attacked by a lion, and yet it's still living, still moving, still, you know, procreating and just moving on with its life. It's not dead, and so it's kind of the struggle base. So if I had run into an image of a person in the same manner, then I very easily could have used that, but it's just mainly the idea and what I wanted to evolve out of that image.